Hi, here we are with tape 3, and if you're watching this, you're probably interested in whatever it is I ramble about from time to time. This one is about lost respect, if you can't tell from the title. When I started out in the Navy, I was a gas turbine mechanic. My job was to work on gas turbine engines and to, keep them running and whatnot. In all actuality, my job was to clean and paint the engine room for 3.5 years. So that got really old really fast. And it turned out that during my initial 4 year enlistment in the Navy, I was a really crappy engineer. There's this one watch station all engineers do. It's called the Auxiliary Systems Monitor. I couldn't even make that. They put me on a rover watch. I did that for 3.5 years. And the rover watch is something that you give everyone until they can do the watch specifically for their area of expertise, in which my case was an engineering watch. So, not that it sounded security, the watch was all that bad. I actually quite enjoyed it, especially when we were underway, out in the middle of the water, because it was the only time an engineer would ever see daylight. It's the only time. But as all things go, I got really tired of painting and cleaning, so I cross-rated to yeoman. And the Navy was willing to give me a straight conversion, and in fact, they did. But I insisted that I would go to A school to learn my job. And A school, the A stands for apprentice. It's the school that you go to learn your job. There's like there was for the GS. So the school turned out was in a little backwater city called Meridian, Mississippi, and going there was the biggest mistake I ever made in my naval career. So, living on the ship for 3.5 years. The other half was spent in boot camp and going to GSA school. So, boot camp, GSA school, 3.5 years on the ship. There's your 4 year contract. Re-sign up. I went to Yeoman A school in Meridian, Mississippi. I remember the first day that I arrived there. It was around 11:30 that one night, and I was the only one wearing normal clothes. Everyone else who showed up were in the dress blue uniform, and yeah, I felt so special. And one of the rules about going to an A school for the very first few days is that you are not allowed to wear normal clothes. Well, you have to be running around in a dress uniform, either the dress blues or the dress whites, depending on the season. And it was October, November, right? It was around November that I went to the Yeoman A school, November '04. So it was dress blues. But anyway, the very next morning, I ran down to what's called the BPO office. It stands for Barracks Petty Officer. Basically, it's just a building manager of sort. They work in shifts and they control several buildings. Because I wanted to go to the galley. It's a cafeteria. Let's just call it what it is. It's a cafeteria, and I wanted to get some breakfast. However, because I was newly arrived, I could only wear a uniform. They prefer the dress uniform, but really it can be any uniform. And I had lost several pieces of uniform items on the plane trip down. And when I went to the BPO office to seek assistance, I explained my dilemma to the BPO, and I was trying to get her to help me. And she had the gall to tell me that I chose to starve. Yeah. I have never lost my respect for someone that quickly before. Never. The fact that I even maintained civility around her astounds me to this day. What the hell was that all about? I chose to starve. I lose my items on the plane, and I choose to starve. Okay. I even told her as such. Oh, I chose to lose my items on the plane, and I chose not to have the right ball cap. You see, I had a full set of utilities, which is another uniform item, and I had my ship's ball cap. But I did not have the standard Navy ball cap. Basically, it's just a black ball cap with the Navy in gold letters emblazoned on the forehead. So technically, I did have a complete utility set. I just best to wear the Navy uniform, the Navy ball cap, while in a training environment, and all I had was my ship's ball cap. So I chose to starve. So she gets into this little rant about how she's so good about giving an attitude, and I will never forget this woman. Her name was Shakespeare. Never forget her. Because I sure as hell didn't respect her at any point past that. I did damn sure to avoid that woman at all costs. And you know what the worst part is? It turns out that I did indeed have a full, correct uniform in order for me to wear out on the entire base. The utilities. Because there was a rule in the whole training environment thing that for the first couple of weeks you are allowed to wear your command ball cap. But as soon as payday rolls around, you have to buy a Navy ball cap and you have to run around in that. And I'll bet you bottom dollar she knew that because she's a BPO. She's staff. She's worked there for probably years because that's the way it works. You stay in a certain spot for a couple of years and then you move on to somewhere else in the Navy. So I'm going to bet bottom dollar that she knew that. And once I realized that, which was about a few days later, I started having even more bad experiences in Meridian, Mississippi. I started jotting down every bad thing that ever happened. That's how bad it was. Have you ever done that anywhere you've been? So, definitely the biggest mistake I ever made in my life, my Navy life, going there. And I promise you that if I ever cross raid again to any other raid, I will take that immediate cross raid and not go to school. I want to learn what I can get away with instead of learning what I need to do. So, go Navy.